Welcome back to Seat Time, everybody. And today we're in the woods of, well, I'm not going to tell you where we are because it's private, right, Cole? Yes.
That's right.
Cole Kirkpatrick sitting right next to me. It's been a long time since we've had a chance to sit down on the couch next to each other and talk about Seat Time. How's your day going so far?
My day's going great. It's a weekday and I'm getting to ride, so can't complain about that.
Game on. So we are here to try to make me a little bit faster, and by making me a little bit faster, we're gonna make you a little bit faster. So Cole's got some tips for me.
The most important thing you gotta do is set your sag before you ride. You can't just check it once a year.
When we were out riding today, there were many things that we went through. There's things like bike setup, there's things like carrying speed. I think it was on the gas, on the brakes, pretty much be more aggressive, but we're gonna break a lot of this stuff down so that I can take that away, but hopefully you can take that away. But Cole, just overall thoughts.
I wanna start with bike setup first. That's super important anytime I'm working with somebody, whether it's a riding clinic or even like today with one-on-one with you. The first thing I want to see is bike setup, and make sure you're in the ballpark with your bike, because if you have a bike that's hard to ride, it's just that, it's hard to ride. So any input that you give to the bike, it's gonna give you something funny back.
Right.
And the biggest thing is having comfort and confidence, knowing what the bike's gonna do before you even hit something. Because what that allows me to do on my equipment is I can just focus on line selection, being aggressive, and if I get tired, then yeah, the bike's gonna get a little bit harder to ride. But most of the time, when I'm racing, I'm looking down the trail and picking a line and not really thinking in my head, oh, what's the bike gonna do when I hit something? And so that's why I've always been big on just making the bike as rideable as possible. I'm not big on crazy horsepower. I'd much rather have really good suspension setup and chassis handling and a slow motorcycle than have a bike that's very fast but really hard to keep on the trail.
What should other people be feeling for, like when they're like, is my bike in balance?
For me, a balanced bike, when you're accelerating, you don't get a lot of chassis movement to the rear, and then under hard braking, you don't get a lot of chassis movement towards the front. And with your bike, we were just setting sag, and I was, you know, it's not something where I would normally just push on stuff and be like, oh yeah, this is what you need to do, but your rear end did feel so stiff to me just pushing on it compared to how the front felt, that when you came off the track and you told me like, man, this thing is scary to ride and it felt twitchy, then that kind of reinforce what I was already thinking. And so all I wanted to do on your bike is make it to where the front and the rear are working together when you're hitting bumps and when you're braking and when you're accelerating. And when you do have it too firm in the rear, what it's going to do is it's just going to load the front end of the motorcycle. And that's what that's why you were getting a lot of feedback in the handlebars. It was making it hard to ride. And so we've made some clicker adjustments, and I think we got you in a better place.
All right, so balanced bike. Sounds like a really good tip. We've got myself there. We're gonna figure out where we're headed after that. But what else? What else did you see while you were behind me or watching me on the trail that others could learn from?
So this place has a lot of, it's about half sand, half hard pack, basically a slot car rut track, essentially. And I'm a really big fan of making a turn track at home if you have room somewhere, or at a local riding track, even if it means going to the motocross track, being really comfortable with being able to consistently hit rutted corners and execute it perfectly over the course of an enduro. Think about how many thousands of turns you do.
A lot of turns.
And if you can execute each one perfectly, you're gonna be doing really well in your class. So I would encourage you to, when you do go practice, have a plan, something that you're gonna focus on to maximize the amount of time that you're spending. I know you're a busy guy. A lot of people that are riding that are kind of similar to our age, to have kids, you know, when your riding window, when you get to ride, especially for me, I try to maximize the effort that I have. And going out and riding hard and practicing, getting that repetition, that's something else that I would recommend. Because I did see in a couple places, especially the first lap, you were kind of going into the corner, missing the rut, and then you'd catch it, and then it almost make a V versus a big, nice, smooth arc. And then there were a couple other spots where you were in the main line, kind of far outside, and then it would S back across, where for me, I'm initiating the corner and getting out wide a little bit sooner, and then it opens up that corner where I can cut in and be on the gas, where you were having to slow down, chop the throttle, and zigzag around another section of trail. Repetition. Practice the hard stuff like the rutted corners and all that, and it will make you a much better enduro racer.
Well, we did see a really awesome wreck while we were out there.
Are you okay?
But you noticed something before that I was doing in the whoops, and it sounded like you were saying that I was trying to jump them or kind of like press them, like push into them a little bit more than just ride through them. Now what is that? What can we take away from that?
Well, when I was following you, it looked like you were using a lot of energy to try to get airborne or pump over the jumps. And for me, a lot of the obstacles out here, I'm trying to accelerate through them. And there are places where you can jump in and get over some braking bumps, but I felt like you were unnecessarily using energy and trying to pump versus just being comfortable attacking the obstacle and getting through it.
So what maybe is a feeling or a technique that we could think about to try to, I guess, as we said, work on that?
One thing that I do think will help, when I mentioned going to the motocross track, the benefit of that is that you do get comfortable carrying speed up the face of a jump, and then either jumping, if you're not that comfortable jumping, then go to a place that has, that's a vet-friendly track, that's got rollers, but you can get real comfortable with the acceleration and braking bumps and the bike moving a lot underneath you and accelerating through that stuff versus you know, trying to hop or pump through it.
Yeah. What else? Let's give them one more thing that I suck at for me to work on that they could potentially work on as well.
No, you were riding strong, but I would say the biggest difference between a rider like yourself and me is the aggression. So when I'm coming out of a corner, I'm accelerating hard, and then I'm using every bit of the straightaway or section of trail. And then once I start braking, I'm braking extremely hard.
Got it.
And then carrying that speed through the corner. And it takes more fitness, it takes more strength to ride the bike that way. But as you start going faster, that's what's required. You know, you were slowing down very early for the corners and even kind of coasting for a little while. You know, like you're just kind of cruising, which is totally okay. But you know, if you're trying to be faster on race day, a AA rider is looking at every inch of the trail as an opportunity to make up time. And so you still have to be consistent, and that's what to me is so impressive about the guys at the top of the sport right now at the pro level, at the enduros. They are going super fast, but they're not making mistakes, because if they are, it's the difference between first and fifth or even 10th place. It's crazy how close the times are. So a good drill to do is just find a turn track or a section, and it comes back to just having a drill track that you can work on. Have cones set up for, okay, this is, I'm gonna be on the gas until this cone, and then that's where I'm gonna start initiating the corner, and then just drop that cone further and further into the corner.
Because at that point you could blow the turn, but again, you're learning you're learning more about carrying the speed. Yes. And then you get comfortable with that, and then you start to learn how to actually brake hard enough for the turn, and then it all starts to kind of come together.
That's correct, because it's you know, you want to ease into it because everything's gonna be coming at you faster, you know. And that's why it's just good.
So will the ground.
Yes, yeah. So if you start with corner drills, it's such a good foundation that as you build consistency, then you start building speed into that consistency.
I like it.
And you know, you'll just see. You start carrying more speed, it'll be easier to do so. Nice.
Well, dude, I really appreciate the feedback. It was awesome to get a chance to have you completely on my rear wheel the entire time. You know, I mean, it's funny, we're talking about the braking and stuff like that, and I could literally hear him on the brakes because I was going too slow for him. I just think you really wanted to get a good camera angle.
Oh, I did. I got some good shots, and you covered me in some mud at one point, so I got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that's what you get, buddy. Get off my. You would just pass me in a typical race format. It'd be really great. Well, guys, thank you, Cole, for those feedbacks. Ask questions in the comments. The thing is what I'm trying to do here is, one, I want to get a little bit better, but leveraging the knowledge of a racer and rider like Cole Kirkpatrick, hopefully that's helping you guys as well. So if you have questions or comments, hit those in the comments below wherever you're finding this video. And of course, enjoy getting seat time. If we do not get a chance to see you on the trail, at least we will see you on the internet. And hopefully, Cole, I'll be just a little bit faster next time, right?
I think you will.
All right, enjoy it, Cole. Thank you. Hey, listen, I'm an on-the-fly kind of guy. Like, this was the first tool I saw, and I was like, oh, look, I know this will fit because I can make it fit. Dirt bikes are easy, everybody says. Bro, my forearms, man. I need to practice in this terrain more.